From Bismarck, North Dakota, it's the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. The upstart Bismarck Bucks trying to take down the defending champion Sioux Falls Storm. Welcome inside the Bismarck Event Center, everybody. Alongside the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, I'm David Sugarman. The Bismarck Bucks have been one of the pleasant surprises around the IFL through the first 5 games of the season, 3-2, and a big part of that is the play of quarterback Glenn Couillette. 15 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. Coach, what can Sioux Falls do to throw this guy off his game a little bit?
Well, Glenn has shown great poise in the pocket over these last couple games. He's extended plays with his feet, and his decision-making has been on. The last 2 games, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, so Sioux Falls is going to have to put pressure on the receivers, and they're going to have to bring some heat.
On the other hand, for Sioux Falls, since the defending champs lost week 1 to Iowa by 20 points, they've been unstoppable. 2 straight wins, and a big part of that is the ground game. Second best attack in the league with 110 yards a game. Coach, what can we expect out of this dynamic Sioux Falls rushing attack?
So Sioux Falls has a great back in Nate Chavius, but it all starts up front with that offensive line. Anchored by Lawrence Martin, 6'3", 300-pounder from the University of Southern Florida, played in the CFL. He is their rock. And then it also, to have a Forrestall Hickman at left guard, 6'7", 330 pounds, I expect Sioux Falls to run his way quite a bit today.
Star power and just straight up power on both sides of the football today. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it'll be time for kickoff for the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium, the Bucks and the Storm. We welcome you back to the Bismarck event on Stadium. A beautiful day here in Bismarck, North Dakota. A gorgeous shot of the Missouri River, but inside the event center, we got a different kind of storm brewing between the defending champs, the Sioux Falls Storm, and the upstart Bismarck Bucks. Alongside the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, David Sugarman here for Stadium. So happy you could join us for this one. Robert, on the surface, two teams that historically could not be more different. Bismarck just trying to get some semblance of momentum in their franchise. They've done that this year at 3-2. On the other side of the coin, visiting today, Sioux Falls, led by head coach Curtis Riggs, most championships and most wins in IFL history.
Yeah, in Sioux Falls, you have a dynasty. You know, they're the bar. That's where everybody wants to be.
Like to introduce
Bismarck is trying to take that
Princess
step.
Of America,
and I really like what
today.
I've seen from the Bucks so far.
Take a look at quarterback Tommy Armstrong, former Nebraska product. He's not going to be getting the start today, but head coach Curtis Riggs said we can expect to see both of his quarterbacks today. Longtime veteran Lorenzo Brown and his backup, first year with the Storm, Tommy Armstrong.
Bismarck, put your backs here, please. Sioux Falls won the toss. They're deferring their choice in the second half. Bismarck will receive to begin the game.
Bismarck will get the football first. Get their first crack at it here. Bismarck 3-2, Sioux Falls 2-1 coming in to this matchup. And the Bucks throughout the week didn't want to make a bigger deal than they had to out of this, saying, well, every game's a statement game, but around the league, it feels like people would really start to take notice of the Bucks if they could pull off this upset today, Robert.
Without question, you know, they played really, really well down in Iowa and, you know, came within a touchdown. But, you know, Bismarck has improved, you know, and basically Sioux Falls is used to being in this situation. They're going to get everybody's best shot. And what greater opportunity for Bismarck tonight than to be able to take that shot and be successful.
The Storm with just 4 returning players from that 2019 title team, but head coach Curtis Riggs said that really doesn't matter. Our history always puts a target on our back, and there's another bullseye square on the white jerseys today. Bismarck coming off a 49-42 heartbreaker at Iowa in their last time out. Sioux Falls pulled out a win on the road, 49-43 against the Louisville Extreme. Zarel Hendrick and Mike Kerrigan back to return. Chase Vinatieri, familiar name for football fans, nephew of one-day Hall of Famer, Colts kicker, and Patriots kicker Adam Vinatieri, set to kick off for Sioux Falls. And here we go. Kerrigan, trouble receiving. Oh, and he's blown up inside the 5.
Whoa.
Brandon Shepard, the wideout, coming up big on special teams. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for both sides in this one. For Bismarck, quarterback Glenn Couillette on a roll. 10 touchdowns to just 1 interception his last 2 games. And he's got a bevy of weapons. Raheem Harvey, JT Stokes, and Mike Kerrigan, 3 of the top 4 receivers in the IFL. They're going against the Sioux Falls defense, though, Robert, that prides themselves on having a strong secondary, particularly with the reigning IFL Defensive Player of the Week, Jordan Baldwin. Inside their own 5, Bucks set up shop. Couillette runs the option, and Justin Rankin lit up on the first play.
I think Sioux Falls obviously expected that. You know, that was something that the Bucks opened up with early in Iowa, but their number 13, Trey Walford, he is one of the best to do it in the indoor football league, and he expected that, was keyed up for it, and ready to attack it.
Walford leads the team in tackles with 25 coming into this one. 11 tackles and a sack last week in Louisville. It'll be 2nd down and 12 from the 1. Oh, Couillette with a good hard count and lots of movement.
Flag on the play.
Yeah, it's one thing Bismarck has done a nice job with, you know, in just situations where they need to get themselves, you know, out of the shadow
Offside
of the end zone.
defense, number 92. Unabated to the quarterback. That's a 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
they've been able to utilize that hard count.
Roosevelt Falls, the guilty party on the defensive line, and now a little bit of breathing room for a Bucks offense that's been hot the last couple of weeks. Glenn Couillette, after trading quarterbacks between him and Stametti the first couple of weeks, Couillette has solidified himself in the starting role. In the last 2 games, 10 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Drops back for his first pass, over the middle and too high for his intended target, Raheem Harvey.
Yeah, that was, they just ran basically a fade that pushed the coverage of the cover 2 safeties, and they were basically running that post right underneath it. And that would have been a big gain for the Bucks.
Just a little bit high for Harvey. Lewis Clark Valley product, and now it'll be 3rd down and 7. First-year offensive coordinator Corey Ross trying to cook something up. Couillette under pressure and sails it past Harvey. Good coverage in the secondary from defensive back Reed Harrison Ducros. Now 4th down and 7.
Yeah, Coach Hermanson, I had the honor to coach against him back in the day. He's been with the Storm for a long time. He's one of the best in the business. He has his guys dialed in early against the Bucks.
You say it was an honor now. Would have you used such kind words when you were going against them?
Yeah, because I really like him. He's a heck of a coach and just a real quality human being. So, you know, it's be really difficult not to like him.
Storm defensive coordinator Brian Hermanson in his 9th year with Sioux Falls, and now Cody Barber comes out for a field goal. Snap and holder good, and Barber will essentially just elect to use that one as punt.
Yeah, he got it out of bounds, but it went out of bounds a lot earlier than he had hoped.
Good starting field position for the Sioux Falls offense. Let's see what that offense will look like along with the Bismarck Bucks defense for the starting lineups. First for Sioux Falls, they are led by veteran quarterback Lorenzo Brown. He's won 3 United Bowls as a quarterback, as the leader of this team, but we're planning on seeing both QBs today for Sioux Falls, and they've got a great running game. Take a look at number 26, Nate Chavius, a lot today, and on Bismarck, strong secondary play all season. Zarel Hendrick, Keontae Godot, and Deion Carter. First down and 10 from the 20. Handoff up the middle, and Chavius slips through a couple of tacklers.
And, you know, Sioux Falls really wants to get that running game going. You know, that's kind of a bread and butter, you know, as they work out their issues with their passing game, but that running game has just been really consistent. When you look at, you know, the left side of that line was Forrestall Hickson, you know, the 6'7", 330-pounder, and then Lawrence Martin at center has just been an absolute rock and one of the best centers in the IFL.
Second best run game in the league at 110 yards a pop. They zip it over to the sideline, and good tackle by Zarel Hendrick. Damian Ford wasn't going anywhere.
No, Sioux Falls is going to run a lot of, you know, a lot of different things. They like the screen. They're going to spread you out, but, you know, one thing about being here in Bismarck, you know, the field just maybe isn't quite as wide as maybe some of the other fields. So, you know, you'll see that defense close, and basically in indoor football, you're only about 7 yards away from help. So one thing Bismarck has done really well has gang tackled and get to the football.
3rd down and 6. Bucks looking for the early stop. Brown under pressure, gets it away, in and out of the hands of JoJo Gauss. A break for the Bucks. That might have been 6.
Yeah, that was one thing that Bismarck has struggled with a little bit, is with the crossing routes. And this is just, you know, tight coverage there, but it looked like it was a drop.
Better be lucky than good sometimes, Coach.
100%.
4th down and 6. Offense will stay out on the field for Kurt Riggs' club. Play clock down to 3. Brown was still looking down
Timeout.
at his play card.
Sioux Falls, their first charge timeout of the half.
Sioux Falls calls their first timeout. It'll be 4th and 6 when we come back on the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium.
Following food sponsors for helping out the Bucks players and coaches for the 2021 season. That's Gately Hospitality.
Fourth down and 6. Brown, plenty of time, steps up, and Gauss hauls it in near the wall for a first down.
Hendrick had some really tight coverage there, but that was just a great catch. Just being able to concentrate and haul that in right along the boards with enough yards to get that first down.
So Gauss makes up for the earlier drop that may have gone for 6, and now it's first down and 10 at the 15. Across the way for Shepard. Oh, spinning and winning his way into the end zone. Brandon Shepard says, I just want it more.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually the Bucks play really well against fly motion. They come up and they're aggressive. But the one thing about the Sioux Falls wide receivers is that they are big and they're physical. And uncharacteristic tackling by the Bismarck Bucks, and they give up the score.
Shepard at 6'3", 215 pounds, the definition of big and physical, and now chance for one more. Vinatieri knocks it through. The Storm strike first. It's a 7-0 lead after wide receiver Brandon Shepard scurries in. The Storm strike first here in Bismarck, a 15-yard run from wide receiver Brandon Shepard, and it's a 7-0 Sioux Falls lead. Bismarck getting ready to get the football back for the second time today. Kerrigan out of the back of the end zone. He finds a crease. He's got room, one man to beat. How about that for an answer? Take a seat, Mr. Kerrigan. You've earned it.
Well, unfortunately, that outstanding run was aided by, I think, a bit of a holding penalty, and it's going to end up coming back.
A flag at about the Bismarck 13-yard line. An abrupt end to the party in the end zone. Let's see.
During the return, holding number 24, the receiving team. It's a 10-yard penalty, spot of the foul, first down.
And, you know, when you play against Sioux Falls, they don't need any help. And that's one of those self-inflicted type of injuries right there that just cost them 7 points.
Lawrence Ross the third, number 24. You just saw Kerrigan run by. A great block at the end by Zarel Hendrick, but all for naught. So second drive will be first down and 10 from the 6. Couillette in an empty backfield set. And Couillette upended. Good job of holding on to the football.
One thing the Bucks are going to really need to do is maintain their blocks. You know, this defensive line by Sioux Falls, you know, they're athletic, they're physical, they're strong, and they're really fundamentally sound. They do the little things right. And, you know, that's coach speak, but that's the reason Sioux Falls is as successful as they are, because they just do the little things right.
And Storm head coach Curtis Riggs said the biggest key on both sides today is not complicated. Dominate the game up front. Couillette on second down. Looking deep for Rankin. Incomplete. Good coverage by Famous Hasty in the secondary. And this is a young but really impressive secondary that we're looking at today for Sioux Falls, in particular Jordan Baldwin, but Hasty with the play there.
Yeah, you know, one thing that they wanted on defense is they wanted to get a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical, a little bit more athletic. And even though they have some first-year guys, you know, as the season progresses, the secondary is just going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. And we're starting to see this. They're playing with a little swagger tonight.
Couillette 0 for his first 3. Plenty of time, and sailed well over the head of JT Stokes. Couillette, who's been so sharp the last couple of weeks, a little bit of a tough start here. What do you attribute that to? Is it something Sioux Falls doing or something Bismarck's not?
To me, it feels like Bismarck they're putting pressure on themselves. They're pressing. This is obviously a big game. You're playing Sioux Falls, you know, a battle of top 5 teams, 2 versus 5, and it just feels like Bismarck is pressing. They're playing like they have something to lose.
Barber kicks it out, and it's pretty identical spot from last time, and he's pretty frustrated about that. And so the Storm will come back out for the second time today.
Yeah, you know, Barber over the last couple weeks, you know, I mean, he's got to settle in. You know, he's not a rookie. You know, he's been with the longest tenured Buck, you know, being here for 3 years, and he's obviously played, spent some time in Iowa and some other places, but, you know, this is the time where he's got to settle in and he's got to play football.
Second drive of the day for Sioux Falls, and we've already got a quarterback change. Tommy Armstrong in there. Play action. He's got time. Over the middle and incompletes. Incomplete on that one, but Armstrong is a guy that this Sioux Falls team is really high on. The IFL Rookie of the Year in 2019 from the Nebraska Danger, and that's really where he made his name as a Nebraska Cornhusker as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the all-time leader in passing yards, touchdowns, you know, at the University of Nebraska, and I had the opportunity to watch him live his rookie year in the conference championship game against Arizona, and I just thought to myself, wow, this is a dynamic quarterback.
Putting it on display right now, shimmying and shaking his way right to the end zone. Tommy Armstrong, second play, first touchdown. That's how quick it can happen with him in the game.
That's why he's a problem. I mean, he's a very effective passer, but he is just like having an all IFL running back in the backfield. You know, he's got good size, obviously speed, power. He has the intangibles.
Vinatieri sets up for his second extra point of the quarter. A low snap, but Brown's adjusted. Up and through. Sioux Falls striking first and in a hurry, already up 2 touchdowns here on the road in Bismarck.
With teams from coast to coast and growing, we are the Indoor Football League. The IFL is the nation's longest continuously running pro indoor football league, and we want you to get in on the action. Visit goifl.com to watch games, learn about our players and coaches, and click on your favorite team's site for tickets and official team merchandise. Follow us on social media and visit goifl.com.
We welcome you back to Bismarck, the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. It's been all Sioux Falls through the first 10 minutes and change here in Bismarck. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, and Bismarck about to get the ball back for the 3rd time. They have yet to escape their own end. Coach, still a long ways to go, but Bismarck's got to make something happen.
Yeah, they just got to settle down and play some football. Obviously, Sioux Falls off to a fast start, which they've done in a lot of games. They've jumped on teams. But, you know, again, Bismarck, they just got to settle down. There's still a ton of football left. And, you know, they've taken a shot to the chin. But now they've got to settle in and realize they're in a fight.
A flag for the 2nd straight kickoff return for Kerrigan. Last one he took back to the house.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 32 of the receiving team. Penalties after this is a goal, 1st down.
Darion Jackson, the guilty party. And for the 3rd straight drive, the Bismarck Bucks will start inside their own 10-yard line. Quarterback Glenn Couillette is 0 for 4, and the Bucks have -2 rushing yards. Coach, glass half full. It could not get much worse right now for Bismarck. How do they get a spark going offensively?
You know, they've got to run the ball, and I think for them, you know, running just right at Sioux Falls instead of trying to stretch them laterally. And then also, let's throw some hitches. You know, get rid of some things quick.
They give it off to Rankin, and he gets out to the 5-yard line, and maybe that's one guy they want to get going. Justin Rankin, 199 yards coming into tonight, 1st in the IFL. He's dynamic.
Yeah, and he's got to get his touches tonight. You know, there's going to be a lot of those type of runs that are just not big runs. You know, just looking at that replay, you know, Bismarck did not block that very well, but he's got to get touches. You know, those are effectively body shots, you know, to a defense, and you just can't let that defensive line tee off. They've got to play honest. They've got to play against the run tonight too.
Couillette, Harvey's wide open. Moves the chains and then some. Ball comes out. Brown can't force the fumble. And the Bucks with a little momentum for the first time today.
Yeah, and basically that was just a curl. You know, they had some vertical routes, again, pushing the
ruling on the field
off.
was the runner was down prior to loss of possession. 1st down.
And Harvey, just being the veteran player he is, just sat down in the zone in between the corner and the linebacker.
Harvey, one of the veteran presence on this team, 2nd in the league in receiving yards and touchdowns. Was on that 2018 Iowa Barnstormer team that won the United Bowl. Makes his first catch of the day, 1st down and 10. Rankin slivers through a hole and then meets a whole pack of Storm at about the 25-yard line.
That was a nice job. I like to see that. Just a zone play, and he is so good at cutting things back. You know, he puts his foot in the ground, gets north, but then he reads the defense well. The linebacker, I believe it's Hendricks, just overflowed. You know, didn't quite read his key and sit down in there. And you know, against Rankin, you're going to need somebody covering that cutback.
And when the Bucks were figuring out their quarterback situation, going back and forth the first couple of weeks, Rankin was really the only consistent source of offense on this team. They give it to him again, and he is manhandled in the backfield. Kai Smith, first one in on the action.
Yeah, he's a nice player. Yeah, just athletic, and basically, you know, they were kind of counting on him to sit on that read, but he just went right to the running back.
4-yard loss, and it'll be 3rd down and 5. Bucks, one of the worst 3rd down teams in the league. Just 9 for 29 so far, 11th out of 12. They could really use one here. Down 2 scores early. Couillette wants it all. Harvey.
There he goes.
You bet. Raheem Harvey, dust yourself off. You earned it, kid.
This has the feel of a game where your big-time players are going to have to make some big-time plays. That look, I could quite see the start of his route. I don't know if it was quite a stop and go, but again, Couillette shows poise in the pocket, goes through his reads, and goes to his playmaker. And the Bucks get a score that they desperately needed.
After not leaving their own end on their first couple of drives, Bucks cruise down the field. Cody Barber knocks through the extra point, and with just 20 seconds to go in the first quarter, the Bucks cut the Storm lead in half. Couillette for one of his favorite targets. Raheem Harvey one-on-one. Good luck.
Need your daily sports fix? Stadium's got you covered.
Welcome to the big time.
From the NFL and NBA
He's trying to compete, win a championship.
to college football and basketball.
I love the way they play.
Tune in weeknights at 6 p.m. for all your sports news, analysis, breakdowns, and more. It's the best hour of sports info and entertainment each day. Get your sports fix at 6. Weeknights on Stadium, your 24/7 home for sports.
Raheem Harvey falls in a 26-yard touchdown, made 2 catches on that last drive, and the Bucks are in business for the first time today. Welcome back to the Bismarck Event Center with the IFL Hall of Fame coach Robert Fuller. I'm the IFL enthusiast David Sugarman. Cody Barber and company getting set to kick off to the Storm with just 20 seconds left in this first quarter. Nate Chavius, one of the more dangerous kick returners in the IFL. They kick away from him. Damian Ford picks it up. Scurries his way to midfield. And he's dragged towards the dashboard by a host of Bucks. 14 seconds left in the quarter for Sioux Falls.
I've always felt like if you're going to squib with the intent of kind of keeping it away from a player, it's got to be a rocket. You can't kick a soft squib, because again, the other guy that's back there is back there for a reason. He's good too, and when he gets his hands on it, and all he has to do is just
That is
have
the end
an
of the first
average
quarter.
return, and they're already at midfield.
First quarter comes to a close. Storm let the rest of the time tick off, and they've got a 1-touchdown lead and the football as we head to the second quarter on the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium.
I hope you're ready for a fun little game we have.
You make the call. Play, watch, win. Sign up now and predict to play all season long. WatchStadium.com/you make the call. You can win tickets, merchandise, or the VIP experience. Bucks head coach Rod Miller in his 3rd year at the helm of the Bucks. 2-12 in 2019. Give him a little bit of pass on going 0-1 last year after most of the season was wiped out due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And best start in franchise history right now, 3-2, but his team is in a 1-touchdown home, and the Storm have the football. Already another quarterback change. We've gone from Brown to Armstrong, back to Lorenzo Brown Jr., and Chavius is gobbled up. His head coach, Curtis Riggs, says he likes to make guys miss in open space. Not a whole lot of open space that time, Coach.
That was a really nice job by Lawrence Ross, the defensive end. Kind of a similar situation that the Storm just had. You know, they have a flat defender for the fly motion, so he's not paying attention to that. He's going right to Chavius.
2nd down and 12. The Storm, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns so far. High snap, and Brown is annihilated. Big Devon Keith got back there.
And they've got some guys now on that defensive line. You know, they brought in Ben Moa, you know, who played against the Bucks with Northern Arizona, but you know that frees up the Bucks to be able to move some guys around and play some different positions.
Bucks aiming for their first stop, 3rd and long. Brown all day to make a decision. Ford is wide open. Upended by Godot inside the 5. But nobody was in the vicinity of Ford. Just a breakdown in coverage, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the flat defender there was cleared out. You know, it just had to be just confusion there. I don't know whose responsibility that was, but the corner chased the receiver running, and that just allowed the back to sneak out. Nice heads-up play by Brown to go through his progression.
1st and goal from the 4. Chavius banged into the dashboard after a short gain.
You know, one thing that, you know, talked about how good the Storm offensive line is at blocking, but you know, when you've got a wide receiver core where they're all 6'3" and over 200 pounds, you know, those are some really big bodies, and they do get some good production from that wide receiver crew in the run blocking game.
2nd and goal from the 1. Brown elects to be in the shotgun. They fake the give to Chavius. And the Bucks had that one sniffed out from the go. Darion Jackson and Keith both in on the stop.
There's a lot of confusion there. If they gave it to Chavius, he walks in. And Riggs is not very happy right now.
Lorenzo Brown Jr. and his head coach, Curtis Riggs, go way back. Brown went to attend the University of Sioux Falls, where Riggs was his quarterback coach for a couple of years before Brown came here, and one of the longest standing veterans in the league. Handoff for Shepard, too easy. High snap, and Shepard with some words for Jackson after the fact, his 2nd score.
One thing that Coach Riggs knows is how to operate with some smaller end zones here. You know, they take advantage of the Bucks' red zone alignment, responsibilities, coverages, and just to be able to isolate that. When you have that fly motion guy coming basically at full
Number 65
speed,
and 75 offense are eligible.
you
65
know, it's just
and
a late
75.
adjustment, you know, and Coach Miller is going to have to get on the board and get his guys on the same page.
Vinatieri, 2 for 2 today. Rough snap. Brown was able to take control, and Vinatieri now a perfect 3 for 3. The Storm up 21-7. Shepard with his 2nd touchdown of the day. Sioux Falls in control.
With teams from coast to coast and growing, we are the Indoor Football League. The IFL is the nation's longest continuously running pro indoor football league, and we want you to get in on the action. Visit goifl.com to watch games, learn about our players and coaches, and click on your favorite team's site for tickets and official team merchandise. Follow us on social media and visit goifl.com.
Second quarter here from Bismarck. Sioux Falls up 21-7 right now. 3 drives, 3 touchdowns, and they've looked pretty unstoppable, Coach.
Yeah, they're starting off on fire. I mean, they're prepared. You know, they One disadvantage that Bismarck has is they just didn't get great film from Sioux Falls' last game, so last week. So a little bit of a disadvantage because at this point early in the season, offenses are evolving and they're starting to develop some patterns. And you can see right here, it's a great look. Coach Miller and his staff are just working on finding those corrections and making those adjustments. But you talked about that relationship, with Coach Riggs and Lorenzo Brown. Lorenzo's been in Sioux Falls playing for the Storm for, basically a decade. And, if you talk about the time where he was at the University of Sioux Falls with Coach Riggs, there's another, who knows, 2 to 4 years. That's a long time. That's a long time to be coached by an IFL Hall of Fame coach and one of the best to ever do it in indoor football.
Been here since 2010 as the kickoff goes off the low scoreboard Jumbotron here in Bismarck.
The kick ball struck the structure. By rule, that ball is placed at the 20-yard line. First down.
So not bad field position for the Bucks.
Right.
Bismarck coming off their first touchdown drive last time out. They've got 3 of the top 4 wide receivers in the league. Only one that's made a catch so far, though, is Raheem Harvey. Only one really doing much. What is the Sioux Falls secondary doing well to get these Bismarck receivers in a funk?
They basically do everything really well. They're just so fundamentally sound. They don't do a lot of things, but what they do really well. I just feel like more of it right now is just Bismarck settling down and kind of finding, now that they've had a couple opportunities to see what the Storm are doing. Now they want to settle in and kind of find out what's going to work.
Over the middle to Stokes.
That works.
He was lit up by Harris Ducrose, but found a way to hold on. JT Stokes, who's been on fire lately.
So right now, Couillette is just, he's showing good poise here. He's got some pressure. He's trying to find the holes in this zone coverage. Stokes just did a really nice job running right down the middle of the field. And what a great job hanging on to that football. And he took a heck of a shot, but hung on to it.
Stokes, 5 touchdowns in his last 2 games, leads the team in receiving yards, makes his first grab. Couillette, looking end zone.
There it is.
Mike Kerrigan all by his lonesome for a 4-yard score, and the Bucks answer back.
That was a nice job. I don't know if Sioux Falls was anticipating run from the fly motion, but it was just another look. A lot of indoor teams, they want to show flow and motion one way and then end up throwing it back to the crosser coming back. And whoever had that
71 is eligible.
That corner didn't stay home.
Cody Barber, longest tenured Buck, knocks through his second extra point. The Bucks offense starting to find its rhythm here in quarter number 2. Mike Kerrigan hauling in his 4th touchdown of the season here on Stadium. Time now for our fan of the game. We have 3 fans that we want you to vote on, and once you've made your choice, head over to @Stadium on Twitter and vote for your choice in the poll. We'll reveal our winner in the 4th quarter. I'm sure we have a great crowd on hand, and let's see who our candidates will be. Fan number 1, a trio. You can't go wrong with that. Excitable.
absolutely. Great seats, too.
Remember, you can vote now on Twitter at Stadium. A reluctant fan number 2 maybe right there, but they're doing a great job. They're doing everything they can. I think the dads are a little bit more into it. And finally, fan number 3. Oh, that's a big group. They've got numbers on their side, Coach.
Yeah, strength in numbers. I think they may have the early lead right here.
Vote for your choice right now on Twitter at Stadium. We'll reveal the winner of our fan of the game and the 4th quarter. Nate Chavius, most dangerous return man in the league. He wants to show why. Stiff arms Godot. Inside the 5. And just short of the end zone. Nate Chavius, he's already brought 2 back to the house this season, and he nearly had a 3rd right there.
Yeah, he's special and dynamic. You know, it's not often that you're going to see a team starting tailback also return kicks, but, you know, I don't know why. I don't know what the decision was to kick to him, but I would just highly advise against doing that. You know, and here's the thing, Bismarck had really nice lane integrity. You know, their guys were not necessarily out of position. Sioux Falls did a nice job blocking it, but Chavius just has such great vision. He's going to find the holes, and his speed through them is what makes the difference.
1st and goal from the 1. The quarterback flip-flopping continues. It's Armstrong in for Brown. Armstrong powers straight ahead. Easily in for the 1-yard score, his 2nd of the game.
Man, when you get down here into this territory, low pad level wins, you know, and that's from any level of football, and Sioux Falls definitely had the low pad level there.
Tommy Armstrong, 2 carries, 2 touchdowns. I don't know who's going to finish the game today, but as this season goes on, that's going to be an interesting quarterback battle to watch.
65 and 75.
Man, it's a great problem to have. You know, 2 capable quarterbacks that have played a lot of games and that are very talented. You know, you have one with a decade of experience and another one with that's just an incredible football player that's played at a high level.
Vinatieri puts through the extra point. 1 return and then 1 play, and just like that, the Storm take back a commanding 2-touchdown lead. Nate Chavius showing off the wheels. Good food, good drinks, good football. This is a great way to spend your Saturday night. And if you're not here at the Bismarck Event Center, well, then we thank you for joining us on the IFL on Stadium. Sioux Falls Storm 28, the Bismarck Bucks 14. IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, David Sugarman on hand here for Stadium. Zarel Hendrick and Keontae Godot back to return. Chase Vinatieri set to kick off.
Yeah, when you've got the kind of weather we do in the plains right now with the, 106 degrees yesterday and it's probably 102 right now, this is an awesome place to be.
Bouncing ball for Hendrick. He makes it out just shy of the 20-yard line. Chavius and Hendricks there to make the stop. And the Bucks will come back out. So down 2 touchdowns, but Bismarck has found their rhythm offensively the last couple of drives, Coach.
Yeah, against Sioux Falls, you can't look at the scoreboard. You just have to play football. That's one thing that Louisville did really well last week is, they got behind big early and they just kept playing. Like they were oblivious to the scoreboard. They just kept swinging for the fences, throwing those overhand rights, and, they were in it, got themselves in it a couple different times throughout that game.
And Storm head coach Curtis Riggs had high praise for the Bucks, saying that this is a team that is just playing harder and more disciplined than in years past. It's why they have the best start in franchise history at 3-2. Low snap, in trouble. Hopping on it in the end zone. And Daquan Harvin swimming his way to 6 more. And just like that, it's a 3-score game.
Wow, those are the type of things you can't have no matter who you're playing in indoor football. Everybody on this, on this schedule, they're just too good. I have to see the replay again if he was ready for that snap or not, but just really fluke play, kind of reminiscent of some things that happened, in the Bucks' favor against Green Bay, on the kick return. But the big man gets his touchdown. It's a little celebration. You don't get too many of those Christmas presents, especially in June.
65 and 75
He's not
are eligible.
practicing moves in the end zone all that often. But Harvin, the Wetbur International product, comes up with a score there. 35-14. The Storm tack on a quick touchdown, courtesy of Daquan Harvin, and a gift, a bad snap from the Bucks.
Need your daily sports fix? Stadium's got you covered.
Welcome to the big time.
From the NFL and NBA
He's trying to compete, win a championship.
to college football and basketball.
I love the way they play.
Tune in weeknights at 6 p.m. for all your sports news, analysis, breakdowns, and more. It's the best hour of sports info and entertainment each day. Get your sports fix at 6. Weeknights on Stadium, your 24/7 home for sports.
Wake up, we still got a football game going on. 35-14, Sioux Falls now well in command and in the driver's seat right now after Daquan Harvin recovers the bad snap from Bismarck in the end zone, and it is a 3-touchdown Sioux Falls lead. But if you're not familiar with the IFL, these teams can score in a heartbeat multiple times this season, Coach. We've seen 14, 21 points in less than a minute span, so this one's far from over.
Absolutely. We just saw a weird kind of fluke play that just resulted in a touchdown, so these things can turn around quickly.
Vinatieri out of the back of the end zone. And the Bucks will come back out onto the field. Last play was only one drive before that bad snap and the turnover. And that's something that Sioux Falls head coach Curtis Riggs was really critical of his team the first couple of weeks of the season. We asked, why has the team gotten better 1-2 in a row? And he said it's all started on the defensive side, forcing turnovers and making things difficult and frankly playing a little bit harder.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think right now, Coach Riggs knows he has a talented team, but he wants consistency out of his team. I think when we all saw the
placed at the
opening
25-yard line as the kick left the field in flight. That is a second such occurrence. That puts the ball at the 25 by rule. First down, Bismarck.
Bucks with good field position off the kick going out of play, as you just heard from the official.
Yeah, so, again, that opening game against Iowa was just an eye-opener for everybody. Just kind of shocked everybody. And then they respond by beating Arizona. So usually it seems like the early trend is, say, if they're going to play a bad game, they're usually going to follow up the next week, on fire.
Kerrigan with a nice catch on the outside, able to move the chains.
And that's just a nice job again. The Bucks need to make things happen quickly, and just to be able to run that. It's essentially just a wide receiver screen. And Kerrigan, how about Kerrigan this season? Just again, he's not going to wow you with size at 5'9", 175 pounds, but he is he's had a heck of a season so far, and been a real go-to player.
Fourth in the IFL in receiving yards this year, as Kuyet had nowhere to go, but some laundry on the field. Let's check in on the flag.
This could be big. We didn't quite see what happened there, if it was just a late hit on the quarterback.
Personal foul, face mask. Number 95, defense. That penalty's half the distance to the goal. It is also an automatic first down.
Face mask on Daquan Harvin, the man who just recovered the touchdown in the end zone. Good thing he's got something good to talk about, because can't imagine defensive coordinator Brian Hermanson will be happy about that. And also half the distance to the goal. So Bucks will have first down and 10. Rather, first down and goal at the 7.
You know, and one of the things the Bucks need to do is to stay on the field and, you know, and just get this clock running. They need to be on the field controlling the football as much as possible here.
Rankin been quiet so far, and he is bulldozed into the dashboards. Trey Wofford in on the action first.
Did a nice job by that defensive line stringing that out. You know, at that point of attack there, you could see the one thing their secondary does really well is just react to the play and flows. They get after it. Nice job by Hasty there.
Riggs wasn't shy talking about his secondary, veteran group, and he said, give them some time. They're going to be one of the more talented groups in the league. I don't know how much time they need. So far, so good. Second down and 9. Across the way for Harvey. And he's tripped up, but able to gallop inside the 5.
It's a nice job by Harvey, just being able to avoid Harvin, the defensive end for Sioux Falls. Breaking a tackle. Jumping over another one. Now the Bucks are looking at 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line.
Harvey got a couple of rushing touchdowns this season. They like to use him more away from the goal line. Couillette fakes the give for Rankin. End zone! Kerrigan, JT Stokes hauls that one in.
It's kind of a different variation of the play that we just saw. You know, again, where you have motion coming across the field. They're trying to get that defense to react. And then this time, Stokes, instead of just running the post along the back of the board,
number 71 is eligible.
Back and is wide open for Couillette.
Bucks have 3 of the top 4 receivers in the leagues, Kerrigan, Harvey, and Stokes. They've all caught a touchdown here in the first half, and a huge response for the Bucks. JT Stokes, his 6th touchdown in the last 3 games. Bucks still down 2 scores at home.
With teams from coast to coast and growing, we are the Indoor Football League. The IFL is the nation's longest continuously running pro indoor football league, and we want you to get in on the action. Visit goifl.com to watch games, learn about our players and coaches, and click on your favorite team's site for tickets and official team merchandise. Follow us on social media and visit goifl.com.
The Sioux Falls Storm have gotten their last 2 touchdowns on one offensive play. First, it was Nate Chavius with a big kickoff return down to the 1-yard line. Tommy Armstrong punched it in from a yard out. And then on the Bucks' next drive, first play, bad snap. Daquan Harvin ended up falling onto it in the end zone. Let's see if the Bucks can make the Storm work it all here. Chavius back there once again. They squib away from him to Damian Ford. Ford slices it upfield, and he's pushed into the dashboard by Stokes.
So, kind of second verse, same as the first, as far as just with their squibs and trying to kick it away from Chavius. You know, again, if you're gonna kick those squibs, you got to kick it with some authority. You know, don't be afraid. Sioux Falls has a lot of people up, kind of playing for that onside, or just basically the way they play their return, you know, trying to get body on body right away. But, you know, I like the concept of what we call like a sniper, you know, where, you know, you're trying to maybe hit one of those up men and hopefully steal a possession when you can recover that football.
You can throw rhythm out the window for either of these Sioux Falls quarterbacks. They've flip-flopped every drive. Now it's Lorenzo Brown Jr. out to Chavius. Alley to the end zone. No signal yet.
Just short.
And Chavius, the 2nd time today, he's gotten all the way down to the 1-yard line.
Well, the Bucks did a really nice job taking away, you know, where Brown originally wanted to go with the football, but Chavius just has that speed he slips out here and then just runs to that opposite flat. Trey Harvey, who's been just a rock star at linebacker for the Bucks, was just not able to quite keep pace. But made the tackle, touchdown saving tackle late.
First down and goal from the 1. Last time it was an Armstrong sneak.
That ball's fumbled.
Football came out.
Whoa.
A Bucks on it, but the officials now just working to break both teams up, and they'll say Brown was down.
Be interesting to see this replay here. I was watching the ball. I wasn't really watching Brown, but that ball definitely came out. Could have very well had a knee down, just like the officials called.
And just before the 1-minute warning, Bucks head coach Rod Miller is throwing out the red challenge flag. A huge call right here for a Storm offense that has run all over the Bucks. An opportunity right before the half.
The ruling on the field of a runner down is being challenged by Bismarck. The play's under further review.
Coach, lie you like this as a fumble. You've already gone back on your word. What do you like the call for a challenge here from Coach Miller?
Well, here's the deal. If it turns out to be a fumble, this is potentially a 14-point swing, because Sioux Falls, I believe, is going to get the ball back to start the second half. So, another score, and that puts them at 42 points. So just anything before the half positive that can happen for the Bucks is going to be big.
So with 1:02 to go, just 2 seconds to go before the 1-minute warning, the officials will go take a look at this. Bucks in a 2-touchdown hole right now and trying to halt the Storm. And it's interesting, we talked about it before the break. So we'll get to that topic later. Let's take a look at the play one more time. So, doesn't look like his knee is down. The question,
maybe the elbow.
Did the ground force the fumble? Other angle here.
He's laying on top of another player.
Remember, we need conclusive evidence to turn this over.
I feel like that ball was out.
This seems to be our best angle. One more look. Flying in, it was Devon Keith who was wrapping him up. The question is, was the ball coming out before Brown reaches for the goal line?
Yeah, just that look right there. I flip-flopped. Just like a politician. I'm changing my mind. Going back on my word.
I'll remember that when you run for office.
Yeah.
Robert Fuller, I flip-flopped 2024.
Shouldn't have said that on national TV, but, they would just
The ruling on the field of a runner down has been confirmed. Second down. Bismarck is charged with a timeout and a challenge.
So Bismarck loses a timeout. It'll be second down and goal from the 1-yard line.
Okay, Bismarck Sports fans, allow us in the
and now another critical play coming up from the 1.
Yep.
They just tried a Lorenzo Brown sneak.
It's a little confusion here, but wouldn't be surprised to see this ball going towards these two static wide receivers here. Some run action.
Last play before the warning. Brown.
Ooh, nice job.
Reaches over and breaks the plane this time. Lorenzo Brown Jr. powers his way through for his first rushing touchdown.
It is a touchdown.
Of the game.
1-minute warning. The 1-minute timing rules are now in effect. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining. Clocks will now also be stopped on incomplete passes, out of bounds, and the first downs.
So that was, again, just for what they've done before. One thing that Coach Ritz does, really well, especially in the red zone, is just he has his concepts, and basically just every variation he can think of
65
off those
and
concepts
75.
he prepares for. So, I anticipated, again, them just to give the ball to the motion receiver, and quarterback keeper weak ended up being a money play for him.
Vinatieri sinks the extra points, and we step away for the 1-minute warning. Last time it was Armstrong. This time, what can Brown do for you? 3-touchdown lead for Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls leads the IFL with 11 championships. They've been to the last 10 United Bowls, and they're showing why here on the road. Flexing their muscle. They have yet to be stopped on offense. They've got a 42-21 lead with just 56 ticks to go here in the first half.
You know, when you look at the Storm organization, you know, you look at that coaching staff, you know, Riggs has been there. This is his 18th season. Then you look at his assistant coaches. Besides Hermanson, all of his other assistant coaches have played for Riggs. They've won championships for him. And, you know, Fields, Coach Johnson, these guys have been there for 9 years, you know, alone just coaching, let alone playing. So they understand kind of the Storm way and, you know, how things are done there. And they're obviously great extensions of Coach Riggs.
Keontae Godot with a return to just past the 15-yard line and a flag on the field after the play.
During return, holding number 44 of the receiving team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
So a holding penalty on the Bucks, and much like they did for much of that first quarter, they'll be starting inside their own 10-yard line.
So that's, you know, you look at, that's the probably what, the third penalty, you know, on kick return. And, you know, when you have a good roster, you're usually really good on special teams. And basically what the Bucks are seeing is they're seeing a kickoff team that is running a lot faster and more physical.
In and out of the hands of Stokes, and Trey Watford with the pickoff. Bucks' second turnover of the half, and this could get messy.
Yeah, Watford with a nice heads-up play there. We could see it just go right through Harvey's hands into the breadbasket of Watford.
Watford, 2018 first team IFL, the 2017 IFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he just keeps getting better.
You know, and it's great to have a player of his experience and his leadership. You know, when you're trying to break in a young secondary, you know, plug in some new guys, you know, to have a player like him is basically the quarterback of the defensive secondary. Not to mention he makes a ton of plays himself.
1st and 10 from midfield. Armstrong in for Brown, a quarterback. He's already got 2 rushing touchdowns, lost the ball, and he falls right on it. I don't know if there was a sudden gust of wind here at the event center, but Armstrong caught a break.
Yeah, you know, you just look at the defense, and yeah, I'm just seeing some things I'm not used to seeing. You know, you've got some defensive linemen kind of standing and watching the play. You've got a gang tackle against this offense.
Armstrong again gets the first down before he's upended by Carter. Just 8 seconds left. Clock does stop on a first down to move the chain.
Timeout. Sioux Falls, their second charge timeout of the half.
And the Storm don't want to take any chances. We'll keep things right here. 8 seconds to go in the half. Already up 3 touchdowns.
chance for one more. Probably have one, maybe even two plays. Not to mention, Sioux Falls is getting the football back to start the second half. So it seems like everything that can go right is going right now for the Storm.
Yeah, without question. You're watching a really good football team and a great organization just kind of firing on all cylinders right here. Coach Riggs, he's going to have the pedal to the metal here, for a while, and they really want to get this score with as little time left as they can, but basically get this score, and they get the ball back to start the second half. They have one more timeout left, but I would imagine this is going to be 2 throws to the end zone here.
Sioux Falls got blown out opening night by Iowa, then close wins against Arizona and Louisville. Now trying to put a beat down here on the road in Bismarck. Armstrong all day to operate, end zone. And Damian Ford, call it a hat trick for him. Another touchdown.
Basically, they basically had kind of double post there, and both guys stopped and returned, whether those are planned whip routes or just adjustments. Great adjustments by the wide receivers. Just a heads-up play.
Armstrong with his first touchdown pass of the game.
65 and 75 are eligible.
Already has 2 rushing. And nearly a 50 spot from the Storm in the first half. Storm with a 49-21 lead, a dominant second quarter here in Bismarck as we take a look at what else is upcoming here for the IFL game of the week on Stadium. Just 2 seconds left here in the first half. Next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, we go out west to Tucson. Sugar Skulls taking on the Arizona Rattlers. And Sioux Falls and Arizona had a heck of a game a couple of weeks ago, Coach. We were talking pregame. Arizona's one of the best teams in the league this year. They're a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and Coach Wooten in Tucson, he has very high expectations. They want to be where Arizona is. They want to take over Arizona. They want to be the top dog in Arizona, and that's a big statement. But again, that's going to be an exciting game. 2 really good football teams, 2 great franchises. That'll be an exciting one.
Right now, it's Sioux Falls 49, Bismarck 21. Just 2 ticks to go here in the first half. Sioux Falls will get the ball to start the third quarter. Beneteri, Squibbs, past Hendrick. Kerrigan looking for a lane. And that's how the first half will come.
That is the end of the
close.
second period.
Sioux Falls led by just 7 at the end of the first. It is a 28-point edge going into the locker room for the defending champs. Sioux Falls 49, Bismarck 21. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. halftime on Stadium here on the IFL Game of the Week. Not much beats a North Dakota sunset. Gorgeous night here in Bismarck. Indoors, things not going quite as well if you're a Bucks fan. Bismarck down 49-21 to Sioux Falls here at the halftime break with the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller. David Sugarman on hand here for Stadium. It's been a rough one for Bismarck, a back and forth first quarter that ended in a 14-7 Storm lead, but Sioux Falls took control in that second quarter, 49-21, Coach.
Yeah, it's been all Storm, at the start of that second quarter, but, they're utilizing all of their playmakers. They're spreading the field. They're scoring in every different way you can imagine.
Mike Kerrigan with a great celebration. Unfortunately, it was called back on this kickoff return, and no touchdowns being called back for the Storm. Tell you what, it's hard for a quarterback to get in a rhythm, but Sioux Falls, whoever's been out there offensively, they've gone back and forth with Lorenzo Brown and Tommy Armstrong the entire game. Both have been unstoppable. A little bit of success for the Bucks offense. Kuyet to Raheem Harvey, and the Bucks did find a rhythm offensively later in that half.
Yeah, in spurts, they made some things happen, but, Sioux Falls is just so good, and their explosive playmakers are doing what they do.
Nate Chavius with a big kickoff return down to the 1 yard line. Followed by a Tommy Armstrong run, and this is where things began to really unravel. Bad snap, Jaquan Harvin. The big man, 6'1", 280, found his way into the end zone. Kuyet for JT Stokes, but the Bismarck defense just did not have an answer for anything Sioux Falls was throwing at them. And more trouble here off the hands of Stokes, an interception, 2 first half interceptions for Bismarck. And yeah, you can guess this one. The Storm took advantage. Tommy Armstrong to Damian Ford for his first touchdown of the half. Both quarterbacks mega efficient in that first half, and the Storm on pace for nearly 100 points in this one. Taking a look at our halftime stats, and Coach, outside of turnovers, the most glaring stat possibly is the rushing category. We know Sioux Falls, second best rushing team in the league, but Bismarck prides himself on being able to establish a run game. Didn't do that in that first half.
Yeah, I feel, every offense should be, at the end of the game, they should be close to 100 yards rushing, and Bismarck is nowhere close to that, obviously. So they've got to figure some things out, and they've got to get that run game going. They've got to get to the end zone any way possible, really.
Bismarck still in a 28-point hole, and the bad could get worse. Sioux Falls comes out of the halftime locker room with the football. We're going to take a short break. It's the IFL on Stadium at the half. Storm 49, Bucks 21. Welcome back to the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. Halftime here in Bismarck. The Bucks trailing the Sioux Falls Storm 49-21. It's a busy weekend around the Indoor Football League. Let's see what other action is going on around the IFL so far. Last night, give the Blizzard credit, down 27-0 at the half. They battled back, but ended up falling short to Arizona, 41-34. Going on right now in the fourth quarter, Massachusetts Pirates taking on one of the IFL's newest teams, the Louisville Extreme. They're up 16, 33-17 right now. Good one in the third quarter between Duke City and the Frisco Fighters, locked at 27. Early on, out west, Tucson on top of Iowa, 7-0. Also in the first quarter, Spokane taking on Northern Arizona. They've got a 6-0 lead. And next week's IFL Game of the Week, 8 o'clock Eastern kickoff, 7 o'clock Central. You are not going to want to miss that one. Tucson taking on the Arizona Rattlers. 3 teams residing in the state of Arizona right now. Who's going to be the best? Well, right now it's looking like the Arizona Rattlers, but some bragging rights on the line next week. Those are your scores from around the league here at the IFL on Stadium. Meanwhile, here in Bismarck, the score is Sioux Falls 49, Bismarck 21 for the Storm on the road. We're going to take a break, be back for the start of second half action here on Stadium.
You will find the number 9 jersey, which belongs to defensive lineman Brendan Daly. Brendan touched the lives of the Bismarck community.
You make the call. It's live at watchstadium.com. You make the call. Join in on the gamified experience through prediction-based questions and more. Play, watch, and win great prizes like IFL tickets, team merchandise, and VIP experiences. It's never too late to sign up for the season-long experience at Watch Stadium. You make the call. You get a look at Sioux Falls quarterback Tommy Armstrong there. He is a happy camper right now. Probably couldn't tell in that photo, but his team is up 49-21 on Bismarck right now. We'll be back with the start of the second half in just a couple of minutes. It's the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. Nearly time for a kickoff here at the start of the second half here at the Bismarck Event Center. First half was all Sioux Falls. With the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, David Sugarman on hand here in Bismarck, North Dakota. Quarterback Glenn Couillette and the Bucks with work to do, and bad news could get worse. Sioux Falls gets the ball to start this third quarter. Coach, Sioux Falls wasn't stopped one time in that first half. They played two quarterbacks the entire half and throw rhythm and all that stuff to the side. It really didn't seem to affect them.
Yeah, they played about as well as you can play in a half. Everything worked for them. They were sharp. They executed well. You know, you talked about quarterbacks getting into a rhythm, and usually that's really difficult to do when you're rotating quarterbacks, but they were even doing it drive by drive. So Sioux Falls had no problems there. And basically, you know, if you're Coach Miller right now, you've got to just basically say, hey, we're playing a two-quarter football game. What happened in that first half doesn't matter, you know, and they've had to have made some adjustments, and then you just got to come out here and play. Basically, Bismarck's a young team. They've got 21 guys that are basically playing their first year of indoor football. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, you know, they're getting a real taste of what the top dog is like. You know, they're playing the elite, the dynasty team, and you know, they're learning an important lesson, and it'll be, I feel like it's in their character and their makeup for the Bucks to play just a really strong second half. You know, they haven't quit at all this season. They play with emotion, and I would expect them to come back and do just that.
Kickoff to Nate Chavius, brought one back to the 1 yard line in the first half. Making guys miss, cuts it back across. Trey Harvey there. We have not talked a lot about Trey Harvey in this game, but inactive last week. He's a big part of what the Bucks want to do on defense.
You know, he's a team captain, an emotional leader, and he is a big physical presence. You know, he brings it. You know, he's a tough, kind of blue-collar, hard-nosed guy that just loves the game of football. You know, he seems like that type of guy that, you know, if they didn't play football with helmets on, he'd be just fine with that. You know, he'd be okay. So,
be good with the leather that they used to go with.
He'd be just fine with that, I think. But you know, he needs to provide this defense with a spark.
49-21, Sioux Falls, 7 drives, 7 touchdowns in that first half. It'll be Lorenzo Brown in at quarterback to start. Wants it all, first play, he's got Shepard inside the 10-yard line.
Basically just took advantage of the man coverage there on the backside, ran that post route, and Keontae Godot has had a great season so far from the Bucks, but that route was just ran so well. It looked like a vertical. Wide receiver put his foot in the ground, broke into that post, and it was a really nice throw by Lorenzo Brown.
Shepard's already got touchdowns on the ground, also making an impact in the receiving game. Leads the team coming into the game with 11 catches for 127 yards. Got his team in business, first and goal at the 6. Brown fakes the give, back of the end zone, touchdown, JoJo Gauss. His 4th of the season. Early in the third quarter, the Storm have already broken the 50-point plateau.
And Sioux Falls basically just ran the exact same play that Bismarck scored with in the second quarter. The exact same play.
65 and 75 are eligible.
Chase Vidicek perfect so far today on extra points. That one was tipped. The announcer's jinx works to perfection, but Sioux Falls still up big here on the road. Glenn Couillette and company with work to do right now. Bucks in a 34-point hole here on the road. We just touched on it coming into the half. This is a Bismarck team that has shown an awful lot of fight this year. You can't get it all back at once. How do you start to just try and chip away at this big lead?
Well, one of the biggest things, I always think about the movie The Replacements, where they talk about quicksand and, and sinking in quicksand. So the harder that you try, the more that you try to do other people's jobs, the worse things get. So really Bismarck has just got to settle down, and they just have to execute. Basically, everybody has to just focus on doing their job, not trying to do more than they're capable of. And, if they can just salvage some drives, get a couple scores, which, obviously is easier said than done against the Storm defense. But again, right now you're looking for small victories. You're looking to get some first downs. You're looking to take some shots and just try to make some positive things happen in the second half.
It'll be first down and 10 at the 12. Coach, I pride myself as a movie guy. I'm glad you brought up the quote. I've not seen The Replacements. Do I need to add it to my list?
How dare you?
Oh, wow. This is going to be a rough second half, folks.
Yeah. You have a homework assignment this weekend.
First down and 10. Couillette up the middle. First time we've seen him use his legs today. And he gets out past the 20-yard line. Bucks only had 7 rushing yards in that first half, and that's a big part of Couillette's game.
Yeah, he's able to extend plays with his feet in the passing game, but he's obviously able to get those yards that you need, in that quarterback run. This was designed quarterback run with the ISO. Rankin is going up on the linebacker, which leaves Couillette just basically one-on-one with a flat defender. So, there's a lot of options when you're sitting at basically 2nd and 2.
Couillette all day to operate, tipped up, and the Bucks caught a break. Marquise Hendricks there on the tip drill.
Yeah, they did catch a break there. They're basically, they got a first down running that play earlier, basically just having the wide receiver settle down into a zone between the linebacker and the corner. But Hendricks, who's a first-year player and has been a really strong performer for the Storm this year so far, leading them in tackles pretty much every game. But 6'1", 235 from Bethune-Cookman. He was a 2-year all-conference selection in the MEAC, and for a rookie, he's had a great impact so far to start the season.
Third down and 2. Rankin finds the edge. Able to move the chains. Much needed for Bismarck. Rankin with just 7 rushing yards in that first half. A league best 199 coming into the game.
Yeah, Rankin is a pretty good football player. Does a nice job by Clark sealing the edge, getting that seal block on the defensive end. And, when you do those things up front, that sure makes it a lot easier for your backs.
Justin Rankin coming off a nice game against Iowa, 13 carries for 56 yards and a score. Bismarck's first road loss of the year, though, 49-42. Couillette in trouble, out for Rankin, somehow holds it in. The yardage won't reflect how good the catch was, and we've got a flag after the play.
Yeah. One thing that Rankin has done really well is he secured the football. He protects that football when he gets it. I think last week.
Personal foul, face mask, number 13 in the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
A massive penalty on Trey Wofford, what was maybe a 1 or 2 yard gain, and now a first down and in business inside the 15-yard line.
This is a nice job just hitting the swing out there. Unbelievable catch. I didn't see that the first time. But, you commit a penalty like that. And this is one thing that's got to drive Coach Riggs crazy is, you've had a dominant first half. And as a coach, you don't want to have a letdown. And just those type of penalties and mistakes are the things that will cause that letdown and allow Bismarck to make some things happen.
The option from the 12 gets the Bucks to about the 5-yard line.
That's something that they ran against Iowa. This is the second time they've done it against Sioux Falls. Depending on what you get from a coverage standpoint, if you can get that pitch, you know, the running back's got some room. And then again, if the defensive end goes out to the running back, quarterback's just going to keep it.
2nd down and 4. Can pick up a 1st down. Couillette out for Rankin. Big score for Bismarck. Justin Rankin sees the end zone for the first time today.
It's a nice play call by Coach Ross. He basically, by design, you know, running the receivers across the field away from that. And then basically Rankin just runs the flat route, which is he's going to have one-on-one with Hendricks. And that's really tough.
Number 71 is
cover
eligible.
that much ground.
Couillette, who's had 5 touchdown passes each of the last 2 games, just picked up his 4th here midway through the 3rd. Barber nails the extra points. Bismarck still in a 27-point hole, but the offense responds. Couillette, Justin Rankin out in the flat, he does the rest. We welcome you back to Bismarck, North Dakota. The IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. Just the 4th all-time meeting between the Bucks and the Storm. The road team has won every time, all in 2018. Right now, the Storm on pace to keep that record intact, but still lots of time here to go. 7:57 left in the 3rd as Barber sends it away. Chavius, he's dangerous, and Jackson wraps him up just past the 20-yard line.
He is so good. You know, it's interesting to hear you talk about this, you know, the 4th meeting between the Bucks and the Storm in terms of the IFL, and it makes me think back to, you know, some of, you know, the early history in the IFL. The first time, you know, my very first game as a coach was actually in this building in 2002, you know, when I was an assistant coach, and it was against Sioux Falls, you know, with Coach Riggs. So just those battles, and you know, they played in 2000 when it was the Blaze. So it's just interesting, you know, those early iterations, you know, of the Bucks, but the Storm have been the Storm.
Chavius with a great run inside the 20-yard line, and the IFL, you mentioned, so many indoor leagues have gone through several iterations, different franchises, but the IFL really on solid ground right now. A dozen teams in the league, 5 more to come next year, and former owner of the Storm, in fact a former player and coach as well, Todd Tryon, the IFL commissioner right now, says his goal for the league is to get 20-plus teams in the next couple of years, and it's a rapidly expanding league.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to see everything that's happening with the IFL. I think they've positioned themselves through, and Todd Tryon, along with the owners in the IFL, have just what they've had to endure, you know, through 2020, the pandemic, to emerge as the indoor football league. And then you talk about that expansion, those plans, things that they're doing with stadium. I mean, there's just so many positive things happening in the IFL. I mean, this is the league. This is where, you know, this is where you want to play. This is where you want to coach. This is where it's at in the IFL.
Chavius on the handoff from Armstrong. No signal yet. Chris Hemphill assistant coach of the Bismarck Bucks, is out there right now, and he is irate at the officials over what he felt was a missed call.
As he should be. I felt like that was a holding play. I'd got to see the replay here, but yeah, if that's not holding, I'm not
sideline warning,
sure
Bismarck.
What is. So he's obviously fighting for his guys. Felt that should have been a penalty.
Chris Hemphill still giving the officials an earful, and now his defense in trouble. 2nd down and goal. Armstrong, Chavius sidecar left. Armstrong, Tebow-esque.
Touchdown.
Finds Damian Ford for his 2nd touchdown of the day, and the Storm just can't be stopped.
That play just put so much stress on the defense because Armstrong is such a capable runner, such a dangerous player. You fly up to make a
75
play,
and 69 are eligible.
and they throw the ball right behind you. Really nice play call in the red zone.
Armstrong, Nebraska's Cornhuskers all-time leader in passing yards, completions, passing touchdowns, total touchdowns, and he's got a couple more today as the Bucks block their 2nd extra point of the game. Special teams playing well, but the Bucks trail 61-28. Now in the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. Tommy Armstrong. Cornhusker fans, that look familiar?
With teams from coast to coast and growing, we are the Indoor Football League. The IFL is the nation's longest continuously running pro indoor football league, and we want you to get in on the action. Visit goifl.com to watch games, learn about our players and coaches, and click on your favorite team's site for tickets and official team merchandise. Follow us on social media and visit goifl.com.
End of the arena following the game.
Welcome back to the IFL on Stadium with the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, David Sugarman on hand. 61-28, Sioux Falls has scored a touchdown on every one of their drives. It's not as if the Bismarck offense has been bad, coach, just have been unable to keep pace with a Sioux Falls team that scored 36 their first game, 50 in the Week 2 win versus Arizona, 49 against Louisville last week. They've got 61 with almost a quarter and a half to go.
Yeah, and this is, nobody's actually up to this point. Nobody's scored more than 50 points on the Bucks yet this season. So, but Sioux Falls is humming. Basically, there's not much they can do wrong right now.
Kerrigan trying to do something right for Bismarck. A good return. He's still on his feet. Inside the 20, Kerrigan had a touchdown return called back earlier, and a big return here.
I'm a big fan of Kerrigan. Just watching him establish himself, I really like how hard he plays. He is, just look at the speed that he hits this hole. Hendrick with the block up front. I mean, he's trying to make things happen for his team. He's done a great job at wide receiver, obviously in the kick return game. He's just really been a bright spot this season for the Bucks.
And frustration aside, one of the things head coach Ron Miller was preaching coming into this week was a short memory. Some things happened in that Iowa game that had the Bucks been able to flush out, he thinks maybe they would have found a way to win that one. Certainly need that now. Couillette on 1st and 10, and Harvey started moving before he had the ball.
Yeah, and that's something that you really got to hammer into, especially with a young team, is just having a short memory. Indoor football is similar to basketball. There's big swings in momentum. How many times do you see a team in basketball come back from a 20-point deficit, to end up going up by 10? And that happens a lot in indoor football as well. So again, if you could just kind of focus on that process, take one drive at a time, which is, believe me, it's hard to do, when you're playing Sioux Falls. But again, you just got to focus on execution and just trying to make something out of every drive.
On 2nd and 10, Couillette steps up. just lost a hold of that one.
You know, it took some time. Sioux Falls is doing a nice job rerouting the receivers, but he had a couple guys open there on those crossing routes.
Couillette, 87 passing yards on the day. Another strong day. You look at 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. That totals 19 touchdowns to just 3 picks on the year. So this is a guy who does not make a ton of mistakes. And not to point fingers, but the interception today tipped off a receiver's hands. 3rd 10. Couillette in trouble. Oh, just shovels it to Rankin, and he somehow gets a first down. Sioux Falls is arguing that Couillette was down.
It'll be interesting to see, but that was just a really heads-up play by Couillette.
What an effort. Let's take a second look. Looked like he was still not quite on his feet, but in midair.
Yeah, that was a really nice play. You know, Sioux Falls is getting a lot of pressure from that right side. I think the Bucks are kind of feeling the absence of Matt Snow at that right guard spot, but you know, he's played really well up until this point. But
1st and goal from the 8. Couillette just has to lob it away. Great pressure by Marquise Hendricks. Feels like we're saying his name a lot today, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just so fundamentally sound. Again, they're doing the little things right. Their coverage is tight. Their assignment sharp.
Ball goes over to the Storm on downs. That'll bring up a 1st down, Storm.
And Storm will now get the football back. Great pressure by Hendricks and frustration on the Bismarck sidelines. A Bucks team that got off to their best start in franchise history, 3-1, but struggling right now. 1:49 to go. We'll take a break for the media timeout. 61-28, Storm on top. .149 to go in the 3rd quarter on the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. Sioux Falls in the driver's seat and in control, 61-28, as they get the football back at their own 8-yard line. With the IFL Hall of Fame head coach Robert Fuller, David Sugarman on hand here for Stadium. Thanks so much for spending your Saturday night with us. 1st down and 10. Brown's got all day. Was looking for JoJo Gauss down the sideline. Incomplete. Coach, we've seen every single drive today. It's been Lorenzo Brown and Tommy Armstrong flipping, flopping back and forth the entire game. We knew we'd see both quarterbacks. What has been your assessment of both guys as they both are still battling to solidify a starting job?
I think with the way the game is going, this battle is going to continue. You know, they're both playing well, executing well for the most part. You know, there's definitely some things that Armstrong has done well. Lorenzo has made some really nice plays as well, but I feel like this battle is not over after today.
Oh, Darion Jackson. A wonderful tackle, tripping up Damian Ford in the backfield.
That was a great read and react, and just basically filling by the safety Jackson here. Just a great look right here. just blew past the wide receiver like a missile. That was a nice play.
Circling back to Brown, 33 years old, been with the Sioux Falls Storm since 2010. And head coach Curtis Riggs said in the offseason he went to Brown and tried to convince him to retire and was up front, said we're bringing in other guys.
Yeah.
But Brown said, I want to defend the title. I still got more in the tank. He's proven that today. Aims it out over the middle, picked off by Carter. Carter breaks out of a tackle, alley to the end zone, pick six to end the third.
Well, that's definitely not going to help that battle. The little extracurricular activity happening in the end zone here, but just a great play by Dion Carter from his safety spot. He was not going to be denied by his players or the Storm.
Coach Miller was saying this week he flies around, he's tenacious, he's great back there in the secondary, making his head coach look smart. Now there are a couple of different colored flags in the field.
Throwing on the field of a touchdown is being challenged by Sioux Falls, indicating the nose guard hand was off the ground. That is a challengeable play. The play is under further review.
So there's a challenge flag, and there was also a couple of penalty flags in the end zone. Don't know if that was just put down on markers, but Coach, break down a little bit more what he was talking about there with the nose guard.
So the nose guard has to have his hand down. All three of those defensive linemen have to have their hand down in the ground. I felt like the nose guard actually jumped off sides, was in the neutral zone, and then that's basically what Coach Riggs is challenging. So that would negate, obviously negate the touchdown by the Bucks and give Sioux Falls, another chance at third down and 5 more yards. So it's a big challenge, very smart challenge. And again, could take that score right off the board just by a simple mistake from the nose guard.
Not often that you see a penalty or a potential penalty get challenged here. And this is big if Bismarck has any chance of clawing back into this ball game going into the fourth quarter. A pick six is just what the doctor ordered.
And these challenges, we didn't have the challenges when I was coaching in the IFL. It just adds to another element to the game here.
Take a second look on the review here. Take a look right there in the middle.
Yep.
At the nose guard.
It's Ben Moa playing his first game with the Bucks. Coming over in a trade from Northern Arizona.
Playing his first game in Bismarck. The question isn't whether he was offside, since that wasn't called. The question is his hand down when the ball is snapped?
And it is not.
Sharp eye from Coach Riggs if this ends up being the right call and the interception. But the touchdown is overturned. Officials taking their time looking at this one. And this is a crucial play. Sioux Falls nursing a 27-point lead right now.
After review of the play, the nose guard's hand was off the ground at the time of the snap. That creates the foul for illegal defense. The touchdown is taken off the board. We will penalize Bismarck 5 yards for illegal defense, and we will then penalize Sioux Falls after this is a goal for unsportsmanlike conduct.
So there was some extra action, in the back of the end zone on that play, but, Sioux Falls obviously dodges a bullet, and that's just a big turn of events. Such a important mental error there.
So the touchdown is taken off the board, and that will bring the third quarter to a close here in Bismarck. Maybe an untimed down. Officials still sorting everything out. Sioux Falls offense is walking down to the other side.
The penalties will be enforced after the quarter change. The down will be repeated. Sioux Falls is not charged with a timeout or a challenge.
You heard it. That brings the third quarter to a close. Sioux Falls 61, Bucks 28. Pick 6 taken off the board.
Referee, what that means is third down and 11.
Start of the fourth quarter for the IFL game of the week on Stadium. The Bucks have a pick 6 taken off the board after a penalty by one of the newest team members, Ben Moa. Illegal defense, had his hands off the ground while the snap was happening. Dion Carter's pick 6 taken off the board, and Sioux Falls retains possession. With the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, David Sugarman on hand. Thanks so much for joining us and our wonderful stadium crew here in Bismarck tonight. Camera operators Dirk Munson, Scott Lurch, Zach Hoffner, Jordan Hassler, a wonderful graphics operator Mick Tidjo, and our director making it all happen, Brent Borkus. Brown to the outside, went up and snatching it like a rebound. Brandon Shepard, he's had a big game today. 2 rushing touchdowns, a couple of big receptions as well.
Shepard is a dominant football player in that 2019 year that the Storm won the United Bowl in a really tough game against Arizona at Arizona. You know, he had an incredible season, so very dynamic player, just an incredible athlete, and you know, he's the type of guy that when you're throwing a corner route from the back of your end zone, you know, you feel better when you're throwing it to him.
The former Oklahoma State Cowboy moves the sticks. Short laser for Ford. And he's taken down after a short pickup.
Second down.
Sioux Falls 212 yards to just 128 for Bismarck right now. It's not as if the Bismarck offense has been terrible, but the Storm offense has just been unstoppable today, Coach.
Yeah, their offense and special teams have just been on fire, and obviously they've made some big-time plays on defense too, but yeah, there's just, again, there's not too many things that they haven't done really, really well tonight.
Brown, play action fake, gets away from the pressure, and just tosses it out of bounds. Looked like a beer or two may have gotten tossed in the process. That's the price you pay for those seats, though.
That's going to happen. You're getting the real 3D entertainment right there.
That's why we stay a little bit higher up, so we can have our beers unbothered.
Right. We just have to dodge footballs and frisbees during the promos. But you know, you're talking about just the entertainment of indoor football. It's just such a great thing to have in your community. You know, if you've got an IFL team in your community, man, get out to a game, have a great time. Even if you're not the most diehard football fan, you're going to go out and see an event. You know, it's just such family-friendly entertainment. You know, and not to mention, you know, stadium is bringing us just marquee games, you know, week in and week out, and you know, you're seeing incredible football players, guys that have played in the CFL, guys that have played in the NFL, guys that have played. You're seeing an NAIA quarterback, you know, when Sioux Falls was NAIA, throwing to receivers from Oklahoma State, you know, and that's just one of the beautiful things about indoor football.
Not too many quarterback battles between a guy from the NAIA level and a guy from the Big 12, now the Big 10. Brown over the middle. Ford wanted a flag. Carter was wearing him like a cheap suit. This might be an easy call.
Yeah. It's a little interesting. Came late, came from the side, but I didn't have a great view of it, so maybe we'll see the replay here.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. That's a spot foul since it was under 15 yards. Automatic first down.
Defensive coach Chris Hemphill is saying that the ball was uncatchable.
Yeah, getting that look, you know, I could definitely see why that was thrown, and definitely felt it was a catchable ball. But Coach Hemphill, he's gonna argue for his guys. You know, he's a competitor. You know, I had the opportunity when I was coaching in Green Bay. He was playing for Wichita, so I got to compete against him. And you know, he's a heck of a football player, and obviously a big signing for Coach Miller. You know, to be able to get him on staff.
Brown just throws it away. Hemphill in his first year with the Bucks, 10 years in the IFL, 3-time IFL champ. One of the new additions to this Bucks coaching staff that they're really high on. First-year offensive coordinator, Corey Ross. And I'll tell you what, if you're a Nebraska fan, this is really a game for you. Tommy Armstrong, of course, we talked about Sioux Falls quarterback, was a Nebraska great just a few years ago. And I won't say his age because he probably wouldn't like it, but a few years before that, Corey Ross, a top 15 all-time running back for Nebraska as well. So a lot of talent both on the field and on the sidelines in this one.
Absolutely, and you know, getting Coach Ross.
Timeout. Sioux Falls, first charge timeout of the half.
All right, so you know, getting Coach Ross over, you know, he was the head coach for Quad Cities. You know, that was a huge signing for Coach Miller.
Corey Ross in his first year as the offensive coordinator for the Bucks. Work to do right now. Sioux Falls spends their first time out of the half. Let's take a look at our IFL fan of the game. Who'd you guys pick? I like your choice. It's a good group, and I wouldn't have just said that for anybody. I would have told you if I didn't like them, but this looks like an entertaining, energetic group. Our IFL fan of the game winner, and you don't have to pick just one. We've got the Burger King style Bucks hat working. Those guys probably did well on the Simba cam as well.
Right. It's good to see the little guys here having a good time. You know, it's a hot one outside, so you might as well be inside taking in some football. But I think Sioux Falls they're pretty hot too.
Sioux Falls en route to winning their third straight game. Next week they'll go back home, take on Spokane. Bismarck will try and bounce back with their second game in the last 3 weeks against the Iowa Barnstormers. So things get no easier for Bismarck. 5th in this week's coaches poll. The Storm 2nd. And now it's 2nd down and 10 from the 20. Play action. Brown. Laser out to the sideline for Shepard. And Brendan Shepard having himself a nice game, the Oklahoma State product. No stranger to playing well in big games. In his junior year against rival Oklahoma, 7 catches, $156, and 2 scores. Hard to get those numbers on a small IFL field, but he's made his presence felt. Several catches and 2 rushing touchdowns as well.
Yeah, you know, if you're a quarterback for the Storm, you got to be really happy with the weapons that you have around you. Not to mention the guys that you have up front. You know, one guy that is in the lineup tonight, Adam Sheffield, you know, 6'4", 300-pounder from the University of Sioux Falls. And, you know, who does it better than Coach Riggs in Sioux Falls, being able to get homegrown talent to play alongside those guys, you know, from the different parts of the country. You know, for as long as I've been coaching or been around indoor football, you know, Sioux Falls has always had somebody, you know, they've had a number of guys from either the University of Sioux Falls, the University of South Dakota State, you know, they've just, like having Vinatieri there, you know, they get some of the best guys from those schools, and they're able to plug in, you know, with available talent, you know, throughout the country.
After the short Chavius run, 2nd down and goal from the 6. Just 4 on the play clock. Brown with the option give to Chavius, and he's halted. Carter and Harvey both in there. Williams in on the action as well.
That's a little bit more of the Bismarck Buck football that I'm used to seeing on the defensive side. Just great flow to the football, playing really well laterally.
Bucks came into this one only given up a shade under 41 points a game. And put that in perspective, in the IFL, that's 5th out of 12 teams. Obviously, you have to take the smaller field and some of the rules that favor the offense into consideration. So this was a solid defense that has struggled some today. Some confusion for the Storm offense, and Curtis Riggs is upset with his team right now. He just had to burn his 2nd time out of the drive.
Sioux Falls, their 2nd charge timeout of the half.
Curtis Riggs unhappy with his group, spends his 2nd timeout of the half. Still going to be 2nd down and goal from the 6. Let's take a look at some upcoming games around the IFL. Next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, the battle for Arizona supremacy. The Tucson Sugar Skulls visiting the Arizona Rattlers. We'll have that one as the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium. 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Right back here, we'll have the call for you. 61-28, Storm still in front right now. And this is a team that after week 1, 56-36, a lot of people were surprised. And Coach Riggs wasn't making excuses, but he says, yes, we're the defending champions. We only have 4 guys from that team that were back. And it was a humbling experience for a lot of those new guys, learning the speed and the physicality of the indoor game. Safe to say they're starting to get it, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when young guys come in or guys come from other teams, they just assume, you know, you go to Sioux Falls and you win. But they win because they work and they do the little things right, and they do it right all the time. So it's a bit of a process. You know, I talked about how young Bismarck is with 21 guys on the roster playing their first year. Sioux Falls is not that far behind with 16 guys. So really nice play there again by, I think that's Neon Dion, making another real nice play.
Carter, who's had a great impact, had a pick 6 taken off the board earlier today, but 2 forced fumbles in his last 3 games, 20 tackles so far on the season. And now it's 4th down and goal. And Chase Vinatieri
69-70
for his first field goal attempt of the game.
You know, he's had some games where he's just a little bit inconsistent, but obviously tonight he's had a lot of practice and he's answered the call and had a really good night.
He's had 2 extra points blocked, but he knocks through the short field goal. Storm make it 64-28 with 8:02 to play in this one. Chase Vinatieri hopefully making his uncle Adam proud. Sioux Falls and Bismarck meeting for just the 4th time in their series history. Road team has won every meeting. Seem to be on pace for that once again. With the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, David Sugarman on hand here for Stadium. So happy you decided to spend your Saturday night with us. It has been a dominant performance from from the IFL defending champion Storm as Vinatieri kicks it away after his first field goal. Kerrigan just wrapped up. Jordan Baldwin rating IFL Defensive Player of the Week there on the stop. Coach, safe to say under 8 minutes to go, down as much as they are. Bismarck probably not going to come back in this one, but what can they still work on and try to improve on as the last 8 minutes wind down here? Looks like Jordan Baldwin a little shaken up after that last tackle. Good to see Kerrigan on his feet.
Yeah, Baldwin did a really nice job just fighting through the block and making that play. Might have just went kind of headfirst into the boards there a little bit. But, you know, if I'm Coach Miller, here's what I want to see from my team. You know, you're taking shots from the best team in the IFL or one of the best. You know, there's 8 minutes left. You know, I want to see a team that's going to play their butts off until there's no time left. You know, and I think that's what he's going to see from his Bucks. But, again, you know, it's you got and when you're in the IFL, if you have aspirations of moving up, you know, you're putting your body of work on film right now. So the last thing that you want to put on film is just, you know, you rolling over and not playing your best football.
Pitch out for Rankin. He makes a couple of guys miss. Coach, we've seen a lot of Bucks football this year. It's very rare that we will get to see somebody take down Justin Rankin on first contact.
Right. You can almost guarantee when the play, if he's running to the right, at some point he's gonna do a U-turn and head back the other way.
5'9", 215, just toughness personified. Started his career with Kent State, spent 3 years with the Flashers before going to Northwest Missouri State. Had a great career there. Second down and short. Couillette finds Rankin again. Was right at the sticks. Forward progress should give him a first down.
First down pass complete.
This is a guy who has a lot of confidence in himself. His college head coach, Rich Wright, said, I've never seen someone emerge as a leader so quickly. And he was up front. He's got NFL dreams. And he said, if somebody gives me the chance, I guarantee I'm going to do all the right things. They're not going to have a reason to let me go.
Absolutely. You know, and if you tell me that you played at Northwest Missouri State, you know, I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna hear what you have to say. You know, it's a great program. You know, they've won a lot of games over the years. I had the great pleasure of coaching a running back from Northwest Missouri State by the name of LaRon Council, who was a 1,000-yard back for me in Green Bay and went into the Hall of Fame in 2015.
Kerrigan with a good pickup on the screen, but a flag on the field. Corey Ross and company a little befuddled, not sure what the call is.
Holding, offense number 52. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat the down.
Jamal Paxton, the guilty party on the hold. Number 52, the center.
I don't know how they could call that a hold. He barely touched the nose guard that was in front of him.
He tripped up Roosevelt Falls, was not a ton there.
Yeah.
Regardless, it'll be first down and 20. Coming up on 6 minutes to go. Couillette takes it himself. Great block from Rankin. And all the way past the original line of scrimmage and near the sticks. But that all happened because of his running back, Rankin.
Yeah, that was a nice job there. Again, just actually the way this kind of works out, that looked like a design run there. I was thinking that, you know, maybe there was got a monitor in front of me. I kind of lost the play here, but that was just a real nice design run there. Rankin came out, sealed in the flat defender of the linebacker. Ended up being a really nice gain for the Bucks here, getting a lot of that yardage back.
17-yard pickup. Couillette aims and fires for Stokes. Picks up the first down and about the 8-yard line.
And things like that, just running hitches and curls are just easy. It's just an easy pitch and catch. That's been open a fair amount tonight, so it's good to see Couillette just get to that, put themselves in a position now. They're looking at first and goal from the 8-yard line.
JT Stokes, a young man they're really high on, 6 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. And is always that guy who's chirping when everybody else is leaving practice. Hey, who's going to come and catch a few extra balls with me? Glenn, I need you to hang around and throw a few extra. Yeah. Always working. 6 foot 205 Wingate product. Already got 1 score today. Nearly had a second. He took a big shot up on the wall for Baldwin.
That's great coverage by Baldwin. You know, usually that's a play and route that's been open for the Bucks, but just Baldwin just on that tight coverage, just right in the hip pocket of Stokes. It's a good look, great look right there. Getting a paw in there.
The IFL Defensive Player of the Week had a huge pick 6 last week against Louisville to help seal that win for the Storm. Another strong game today. Sioux Falls en route to their 3rd straight win. Bucks still trying to put points on the board. 2nd and goal. And I've got a feeling somebody got overeager.
Yeah. The nose guards for the Storm have, they get off the ball really quick.
Offsides defense, number 92, unabated to the quarterback. Penalties after this to the goal. Still 2nd down.
Roosevelt Falls called for the penalty. And so the Bucks will pick up a few extra yards.
2nd and 4.
Looking at number 92. He identified himself pretty easily for us. It's a nice little drive, though, Coach, that the Bucks are putting together. You mentioned you wanted to see some fight. It was 1st down and 20 in their own end. Here they are, 2nd and goal inside the 10.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of the response that you want to see.
2nd and goal from the 4. Couillette fake the give to Rankin. And take your pick on who gets the tackle. Hendricks, Luckett, Falls all in there.
Just all the way through all levels, the defensive end, the nose guard, the linebacker was there, the corner was there. Those guys they're not fooled by the window dressing. Great look here. Gang tackling, that's what you need. If you want to compete for a championship, you need all guys doing their jobs and fighting to get in on those tackles.
Nobody competes for championships like the Sioux Falls Storm, most in league history with 11 early in their season, but they are looking the part once again. 3rd down and goal, and a whistle before the snap. Corey Ross is complaining that the play clock was not reset.
There's no foul for delay a game as the play clock was not reset. It will now be reset at 25 seconds.
And so the first-year offensive coordinator had a point. Interesting journey for Ross, was the head coach of the Quad City Steamwheelers before the team went dormant, one of the unfortunate effects of the COVID-19 pandemic for the IFL, but had a relationship with head coach Rod Miller, and while he's considering going back to Quad City when they're back next year, hasn't made that decision yet. Right now his focus is here in Bismarck as Couillette sails that one high. It'll be 4th down and goal.
Sorry. He's definitely, he's a head coach, and it'd be awesome for Coach Miller and the Bucks to have him back next year, but I'm just not sure if that will happen. Again, he's a good one, and obviously the Bucks would love to have him back, but right now he's just focused on getting into the end zone. That's all he cares about right now.
Ross, a top 15 all-time running back for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Cup of coffee in the NFL, 10 games with the Baltimore Ravens. Couillette to the outside. Kerrigan trying to fight his way towards the end zone. Didn't get there, but there is a flag. Based on the Storm's body language, they don't think it's on them.
Yeah. He's getting a little sloppy here in the 4th quarter, a lot of penalties.
There's no foul for offensive pass interference as the pass did not cross the line of scrimmage. The play is legal.
The play is legal.
Ball was turned over on downs. 1st down.
Nonetheless, it is a turnover on downs.
1st down, Storm.
This Storm secondary has come to play today, flying all over the field. Coach Riggs didn't want to give out praise like it was candy throughout the week. Said they were young in certain spots. They still had a lot of room to grow. I think he's going to have to give them a little bit of credit in the locker room after this one, though. They played an excellent game.
Yeah, he's going to give him credit, but, knowing Coach Riggs and just obviously the kind of the level of play that he demands, there will be plenty to critique and work on, and a lot of things that they're going to see in film that they're going to want to improve on.
Well, he's the all-time winningest head coach in IFL history for a reason, inducted into the IFL.
1 minute warning, please reset the clock to 1 minute. 1 minute timing rules are now in effect. Sioux Falls has 1 timeout remaining. Bismarck has 3. The clock will stop at out of bounds, scores, and incomplete passes. And the offense, if they are ahead, must gain positive yardage.
Coach Riggs on his way to win 243. Let's step away. One minute exactly to go after the warning. Sioux Falls 64, Bucks 28. The Storm just trying to put a bow on this one. Game is over, but the quarterback switching continues. Saw that all day long. Armstrong out to Chavius on the outside, and he gets near the sticks. I think Chavius, maybe not the explosive numbers or touchdowns that we've seen through the first couple of weeks of the season, but another really strong game.
I think coming into this game, you look at that wide receiver crew that they have, it almost feels like a point of emphasis was wanted to feed those receivers, and they wanted to get them the ball tonight. They're such a talented group. Chavis has had some really good games, but, it just felt like their point was, hey, we're trying to evaluate these quarterbacks. Let's give them an opportunity, to make some decisions, to make some plays, and see what they can do.
One final snap is all the Storm need. And that'll do it. The Sioux Falls Storm, the defending champions, come into Bismarck and look the part all night long. The Storm pick up their 3rd straight win, and the IFL's all-time winningest coach, Curtis Riggs, adds one more to the win column, number 243. The final here in Bismarck, Sioux Falls 64, Bismarck 28. We'll be back in just a few with our post-game report here for the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium.
64-28. See you next Saturday night.
Wrapping up here on the IFL Game of the Week on Stadium post-game show with the IFL Hall of Famer Robert Fuller, David Sugarman on hand for what was just a portrait of dominance tonight, Coach, for Sioux Falls. They got out to a 14-0 lead and never really looked back. 64-28, they're the winners.
Yeah, they came and executed very well, did what they wanted to do basically, and got that good road win. But, you know, for the Bucks, you know, there's no time to feel sorry for yourself. You know, you learned some lessons, you got some things to work on, but there's really no time because this schedule, you know, there's no bye weeks. You know, it's just tough teams the rest of the way, so they got to regroup and figure some things out.
The defending champs will go home next week trying to win number 4 in a row against the Spokane Shock. Meanwhile, Bismarck will stay here in North Dakota and try and bounce back next week against the Iowa Barnstormers. That's going to do it tonight on Stadium. A big thanks to our entire crew working so hard to make tonight's broadcast possible. Our camera operators, Dirk Munson, Scott Lurch, Zach Hoffner, and Jordan Hassler. Our graphics operator, Mick Tintro, and of course, our director, Reno Hightower, back in the studio. For my broadcast partner, the Hall of Famer, Robert Fuller, I'm David Sugarman saying so long for the Bismarck Event Center. Sioux Falls comes into Bismarck and comes out victorious 64-28.